Hello. Let's see if this is working. Hi, this is Patrick Gindotti. It is August 12th of 2025, and I'm coming to you at about 10 a.m., 9:56, but around 10 a.m., and this is my update for my summer, as well as just kind of what I've done before that with the spring semester of 2025 at the Georgia Tech Graduate School, which is my third semester that I've actually taken classes. So I'm about halfway done at this point. Where we are is, that's not important. So let's get some of this up. I'm about halfway done at this point with the class work. 4 out of the 10 classes that are required have been completed on my part, and I need to do another 6. I have 2 upcoming this fall, which the semester starts in about a week on the 18th. So it's a Tuesday. It'll be a week from yesterday. And I've been just kind of working the whole time. It's been a lot. That's why I'm kind of making this video as a kind of broadcast update, where I've been, what I've been doing, and some tips about graduate school, because I've been doing a lot better this time than last time. Last time I did a 5-year program with 1 year of graduate school added on with reduced units down at USC, and that was a lot for me. They think grad school is kind of considered the no fun league, like the NFL, so it's just things go faster. There isn't as much forgiveness for mistakes or errors. Things have to get really tightened up. People have to be really serious. People tend to be or have to be more with it. So I'm making this kind of as a PSA as well, that people who would not know about grad school have some more basic information. And Georgia Tech is considered a super elite school for engineering science. So that means there's elite, which is maybe top 20, top 15, top 50, depending on who you talk to. Super elite's like maybe top 3 to 5, and they are number 3. So they are a school that trains professors. That's where they are as a school where they want to be. It's an institute of technology, so it's science and engineering for the most part, and they have like a business school and some other schools, but their focus is science and engineering. So Institute of Technology, there's one in each state, and the other 2 that compare would be Caltech and MIT. So for the program I'm in, I think this is rated higher than Caltech, and maybe around the same. They're about number 3. Georgia Tech's about number 3, so it's like Stanford and MIT, I think, are 1 and 2. So Georgia Tech being number 3, great school. If I went there in person and did this and then spent another year or 2 with a dissertation, I'd be qualified to be a professor at just about any school in the world, especially this country. So when I was at USC, we had professors from Georgia Tech. So it is a very high level degree, professor training, super elite. I think when they rate the schools or rank the schools, it's not just necessarily based on what's going on with the school, because the school is built for a reason or has a focus. So you'll hear that this is a college, that this is a university or institute of technology. Universities have more departments or different schools. Institute of Technology isn't a university in most cases, so there's just or that there's a college, and then that's like that it's a, humanities college or something. So there's different, like that they'd say Bryn Mawr or something, or they're like small ones up in the Northeast. So there's just a lot of different kind of distinctions within academia. But this is a professor-trained school. USC, I think, was more of an industry or marriage or sports school, because those are the things that tend to be a little more available there. And this is like opposite of a marriage school. It's a no marriage school. So just there'd be like tags on the schools for what they're supposed to do or trying to do with how the school works. So that's why rankings from like U.S. News and World Report are not the full information about kind of the loadout for what the school is trying to achieve. Anyway, beyond that aside, I would like to update everyone on where I am with the schoolwork. So I took 2 classes in spring. That was my first semester taking 2 classes. In fall I wrote 37,000 words, and that's like a novella, but there's a lot of diagrams, and I made a report in a month, research paper in a month, which is not ideal, but they can just do this. A lot of what's going on is the compression, kind of condensing the workloads. So if there's a way to spread out the workload, especially for graduate school, that is useful. A lot of what's going on is the intensity is causing kind of more stress or issues just outside of the school for people. So what happens is intensity is kind of like what people would think of as power in physics. So it's work per unit time, or energy cost per unit time. And that is a measurement of how these projects and these lectures and all that will cost this much energy. And then you have this much time, so in the semester you have about 110 days. But if there's a way to spread out the burn, that's what they're saying in undergrad, spread out the burn, and they had us work during spring break. So, like in some senior classes for projects, so that's kind of a good idea for a general way of approaching the graduate school program. Anyway, we've got to... A lot of people are working too, so that's why it'd be hard to go do kind of a super elite and work and be in professor training level classes and also working. So I'm fortunate in that I'm not working for this kind of period. It's a bad time to be working right now. There's a lot of hiring freezes and layoffs. If you want to see something, we've got here, for example, we've got Microsoft laying off 9,000 employees in the latest round of cuts July 2nd. So that was a little over a month ago. 4% of its global workforce in its second major round of job cuts this year. So it's not a great time to be looking for work. With technology, I think a lot of AI stuff is coming to the forefront, and people are trying to reevaluate how many workers they need if they can automate things with AI. And so anyway, it's a good time to be in school, maybe not a great time to be working unless you have a really stable job. And tech jobs don't tend to be that stable. The average tenure is about 2 years. Just kind of industry background. So, and you can go on LinkedIn and kind of confirm that for some of these major tech companies, because it says average tenures, and LinkedIn's a good place to look because about 80% of the jobs or new jobs are found there. So that tends to be a pretty good reference website for a lot of these job related activities and metrics and statistics. Anyway, we're looking at what classes I took. So those are classes I'm looking at taking now, but if we look at before, I took AOS. No, I took GIOS. Sorry, it's OS. So Operating Systems Track, which turns into distributed computing. So we're looking at GIOS and SDP were the ones I took in spring, and I was able to get both of those done with an A, but it was a lot. I think I spent probably a day or two on SDP and probably 4 to 5 days on GIOS a week. I tried to get the lectures done before, but it's kind of iffy. If you look at GIOS, you can look at the notes, and it's how I bought the notes online, lecture notes. And as you can see here, it's 286 pages. Someone made this and sold it. Match linker. You can see right here. So he sold the notes as a PDF, and then that was a huge help. Helped a lot with reviewing for the tests, because it helps to go through the lectures once, but when they're talking in the lectures, it's sometimes hard to follow, because they skip around or make jumps to conclusion that you have to fill in, or make mistakes that you have to figure out, or misstate things, misspeak. So there's always something going on with that, so it's good to have a secondary source and just be able to read it and kind of at your own pace and prep. And I think that's something that a lot of people are losing, is their note-taking skills, because with all the digital technology, people don't have to write notes or write notes by hand. They can just take pictures of notes. So that's great for like the slides, but instructors have more than just the slides. The slides are kind of the talking points, and then they're saying things that are relevant. So it's really important to know what they said and not just the slide, because otherwise they just have slides and you can just read slides, but you should listen to what people say too, because that's kind of what the added information and context are for kind of bullet points on a slide or a diagram. Anyway, so yeah, notes are important, STP and GIOS. So GIOS is Graduate Introduction to Operating Systems, and there were 3 projects. I hadn't written C code going into it, and that was a rough start to writing a C program. It's a lot of client-server programs, ways of making multi-threading, parallel programming, multiple processes. So it's kind of having one machine but multiple like parallel programs going on, or one parallelization within a program is a lot of what's going on with this class, and it's important to know parallel programming, like mutex locks, all that kind of stuff, multi-threading. So that's what's going on with this class, kind of intro to that. No C project, C code, but I got 2 of those done. There were 2 out of 3 were C, and then I switched the language to C++. So once you get in the hang of C or how it works, we switch to C++, and then it's like we're starting kind of closer to 0 again. It's like change gears, shift gears. So that was a little rough too. So it's just how the whole class works. I think about a third of the people drop it. Anyway, so that's, I only had winter break to prep, and it was mostly lecture prep, but I did have the notes, so that was a big help. And then SDP, this is more like a senior level class, or really early grad school class. There's a lot of overlap with what we did and what in this class and what I do at work. It's all Java code, testing, unit testing. I think I had to write like 50 to 90 unit tests for one part of it, in like a week. And then you have to have like a rule-based generator for like making all the unit tests in different cases. And then they had a tricky assignment that I didn't read right, and then someone like highlighted what are you saying or clarified, and then I read it again, and it's like, oh, they're playing word tricks. So there's just a lot of nuttiness. So it was set up, that assignment set up kind of like a final or a test, because there are no tests in that class. So that's good. Not really a lot of reading, so that's easier too. No tests, no readings. It's all assignment based, but there's a team project, so that can be kind of interesting because they assign teams, and then it's just 4 people that are supposed to work together, matched out of the blue, with all kinds of, they could have different backgrounds or skills or whatever. Anyway, though, I think it's a good class. It's like something that would come up in the next 5 years at work, or first 5 years of working at a company. Heavy testing focus, which was good. GIOS, I got away with mostly doing print statements to debug the code. But, yeah, they fit together in terms of, like, there was, like, a documentation README write-up that I had to do for GIOS, and that lined up with some documentation I had to make for SDP. So I think these classes pair really well together. Just kind of how they sync up with a semester, and then the no tests, and the 2 exams, and then 3 projects. Anyway, yeah, heavy coding. Harder if you don't know C and C++, but you can do it. Probably there was someone who said it's 100 hours for the first project, and then 40 and then 30 for the next 2 respectively, and that pretty much tracks for what I did, for what happened with me. And they went in without knowing the languages, I went in without knowing the languages, so that's good rule of thumb. But yeah, there are a lot of readings, and towards the end they kind of just unload a lot on you, in terms of like the project's done, there's not a really big gap to the next project, and then the next project's due like at the same time, or like 2 days before the final exam. So it's just at the end it kind of gets crunched. But I did well in those classes. The notes really helped. Notes are important. Anyway, so those are good classes. I would recommend taking them. And then that ended around April. And in the first month or so, I was thinking, like, what am I getting myself into? Oh my goodness, what is this first project for GIOS? So yeah, start right away, and then just work on things as soon as they come out, and make small changes, or do any work you can each day to just be consistent would be the best advice. And then prep if you can by looking at the syllabus and project info, kind of how those are set up, and then the schedule, and do lectures ahead of time, and then get the notes. So there's just a lot of stuff going on though that would be good to know ahead of time, because they can really kind of dial up the intensity in these classes. It's probably 2 or 3 times what I do at work, because it's a lot of individual effort, just constant individual effort, constant progress required. It's like if you have 21 days to do a project, you have to get 5% done a day or whatever. So it's kind of a lot of management that you have to say, I have to get 7% of the project done today, or all these things. So there's a lot of time management and energy management and overall management, like just that comes with maturity, like that I have a car, I get groceries. I know make meals pretty fast, like just do bagel and cream cheese or cereal. So it's just a lot of stuff outside that made that work. And then it's good to also be kind of mobilized in terms of, if you look at like Hearts of Iron 4 or something, which is a video game. As time goes on, you become more and more mobilized for the World War. So you have different policies, and then can change the policies over time, and then have to have more kind of factories, military factories, and then you don't have as many consumer goods. So a lot of what works is having more kind of academia or school factories or focus. So don't do a lot of other work. Cognitive bandwidth is important. So don't spend time or energy on things that aren't really related to what makes sense for the schoolwork. So, like, for example, the first time I went to grad school, I would play a saxophone, or I'd go on a longboard class, and I didn't really drive, or I went to the grocery store like 4 times in a week, and then it was a bunch of goofy food like orange juice and yogurt. So it's just there's a lot of having to kind of plan and know what to eat. Having had a car for years, don't do something like play a saxophone or read a book like Catch-22, which was nasty. I didn't really know what they were saying, but it was not a happy book. It's a war book, so that's part of it. Anyway, it's like, but I was a little goofy, and then it's the maintenance wasn't, and then even knowing what like small chicks wasn't what was going on. So anyway, yeah, you have to kind of plan ahead more when you have more maintenance or other options, and then things coming up, and that tends to help with everything. So the semester's 110 days, which is good to know. And then right towards the end, I went to an RSA conference. I was able to go to that for about 6 hours up in San Francisco. It was a good conference in terms of getting continuing education units for the Security Plus certification I have with CompTIA, which is a really good one. You could look into getting that one. It's really practical as a basic certification. You could even have your own company, or with that one you could be qualified for cybersecurity or IT work. But then you have to do a continuing education unit, CEU, so you need 50 over 3 years. And at this time I'm about 17, so next summer I'm going to really have to focus and work on getting those CEUs from online lectures. And then, anyway, so you can get 10 from a conference, so I got 6 because I couldn't go more than a couple days. And then right after that I had a memorial of life, a celebration of life for my great aunt, who was a twin, and her other twin was gone, but she was a twin, and then she was kind of gentrified out of the area from San Francisco originally. About 91 years old, had 9 kids, and it's like, that's what she looks like. Anyway, at the church, and it was a nice country church, a lot of woodlands, and they had like flowers and stuff, so that was good, but that meant I couldn't go to the RSA conference, but it was good to do that. 9 kids. She has like 64 kids, spouses, grandkids, great grandkids, so that was good. Um, my grandpa's older than her. He's like 92, so there's just always something going on. He had 8 kids, so there's always something going on with the cousins. And then, what else? So that was kind of a good kind of closure event. To kind of cap off kind of the work for the semester, and then the RSA conference, and then celebration of life, and see people and kind of have a nice service. And then we had to stay over because they're out in the Sierra Nevadas almost, out by Tahoe kind of. And then beyond that, came back, and then I had like a week where I just played video games and kind of chilled out, cool down. Cool downs are important. I was in summer school a lot, kind of taking classes, or when I was a kid, prepping, because they could send you to math camp or whatever, so there aren't a lot of cool downs, and then, cool downs become more important as energy costs go up, so kind of a cool down, that's important to have cool down or relaxation or rest time. So that happened for about a week, and then beyond that, it was birthday season, so this is April, and then between the beginning of May and middle of July, family has 6 birthdays, immediate family, or 7 now, because there's a baby, so there's a lot of birthdays in that time period, that 2-month period, so it's like almost every week. And then that was good. On my birthday, got a bunch of kind of classic science fiction, fantasy, nerd, computer scientist stuff. Sauron and the Numenorians. So it's just constantly different books and stuff. Got Scooby-Doo, Mystery Incorporated, which was good. It's like, this one's a picture book, and then that's like a kid's cartoon, so a picture book that's like history of Tolkien world, because then I don't have to spend as much energy reading or thinking. It's kind of more background. It's kind of the people buy the same brands or do the same things, and that's like these pictures or fantasy books or science fiction books they do the same thing as THC, just what they said online. So it's like, but it's like synthetic THC. But you can't read much of that because of bandwidth, and you have to focus, and if people are driving and all that. So that's where we are with that. Yeah, Crystal Cove, Mystery Incorporated. I like that show. I thought it was really well done. Reminds me of where I live. Went to Tiki Hut in the last couple weeks to do, like, it's not the Tiki Hut, but there's a place. And then within like 4 blocks of our house. And then this is kind of what it looked like past couple weekends.
like the tiki tub and you delivered. The local hut cats are gonna dig this crazy joint.
Just one more check on the to-do list that'll turn Crystal Cove into the cultural/paranormal center of the world. And let me congratulate you, Sheriff, on how quiet things have been around town. In the words of Abraham Lincoln, a quiet town is a place where people like to spend money.
Thank you, everyone.
So, anyway, yeah, that's where my sister has a rehearsal dinner planned for her wedding, which is in about 4 weeks. So, there's been a lot of wedding stuff going on. I had to get a suit, black suit, because my measurements changed. I think they gave me the wrong suit, but I didn't have time because it was for my aunt's funeral, but then I didn't have a black suit, but then they didn't tailor it, so then they didn't tailor it right because I have to go up the suit level, so they just kind of fit it, but it wasn't right, but I kind of didn't have time. So anyway, yeah, I got a new suit, and that was good because now I have a black suit that fits. And then tiki tub. Anyway, so yeah, so birthday time, lots of birthday time. Then what else? We had water heater break, so there's always maintenance to do. It's good to kind of combine all the maintenance on one day. This is like my maintenance day, that's why it's easy to make this video. So like the maintenance would be that I had a flat tire, that I have a tire leak, and then also need an oil change. So the Jiffy Lube nearby doesn't do both, but some of them do, so it's good to stack those up and kind of do both at the same time. And also like a car wash, so you get car wash and then go and get both of those done theoretically, and that's how you can kind of stack up and combine things so that it makes sense. That's why a whole day for kind of maintenance makes sense. So there's a lot of that that's kind of just the higher level management that's going on that kind of helps or has to happen, kind of because of the time constraints and workloads with these schools. And then we're looking at, yeah, water heater broke, so then that was a whole thing, the house, because there's always maintenance. And then looking at the next two classes would be AOS and SAT. So AOS and SAT, this is next in line after GIOS. About half the people don't pass, either withdraw or do not pass. So I had to kind of make this spreadsheet, just sketch out what to do for the semester. Still have 4 weeks or so left, but this is the last week that's something really useful. Kind of the middle is what's important. There's a lot of stuff at the beginning, but that's not really useful or helps. Yeah, so prepping, because half the people or so don't pass that. Get an A or B is what pass means. And then about 70% of the people pass this one, so we'd be looking at, like with probability, if you were to pass both, it would be, you multiply the probabilities if they're independent. They're not, because it's the same student and all these things, but it'd be a 35% chance to pass both at the same time, using probability, but that's not independent because of who the student is or all these things. So I still have some more of this to do, but just as a bit of a background on, yeah, 287 notes for GIOS, which is the, not prerequisite, but it's before it in a series. And then if you look here, we're at 16,000 words and 105 pages at about less than 7 out of 11. And then in the other class, I'm looking at 62 pages and 5,307 and 8 out of 11 of those lectures sections. So that's over 150 pages of notes. That's what I've been doing this summer. I've really been working on that the past few weeks, but it's been kind of exhausting. But I'm better at taking the notes now, so I'm looking at possibly selling those notes depending on what the school allows. I have to get it approved, but that would be around next summer in about a year. So I thought that would help people because of the pass rates, and then I could also make money, and then people would learn it better, and then the school would have these pass rates improve, so more people would be qualified or whatever. Anyway, we're looking at 397, and then for one class that are registered, seats taken at 400, and 249 out of 400 for the other class. So if I were to charge $20 maybe, $20, and then half the people, 100 was 25. This is only like 50% of the market. You could look at $6,500 per semester. So that's not nothing. That would totally subsidize the school pretty heavily. So I'll see if I can sell that, and then I'd be looking at taking another class, SAD. So that would be another, however many, another 50% or more. Should be almost $10,000. So see if I could get $10,000 a semester. It doesn't overlap. Someone else made notes, the match linker guy. So if I can make those notes, that would be good. That's like what my internship is. These classes are more, and they're all relevant. So those could really help people. Just publish what I did, probably polish them up, and then publish, and then win. Everyone wins. School wins because they have more students passing. Students win because they have these kind of upgraded, interpreted, refined notes. I win because I get paid, and then that's kind of like what is going on. Yeah, it's important to thank other people, and then think like classes and win and all these things. And then that way we could look at the degrees. So if you look at degrees and the pricing or tuition, this is what it looks like. So it's almost like exponential decay, but then this would actually flip negative in the price I get paid, or it would be in tuition, but then there's other costs. But yeah, the next degree I'd probably be getting paid, or even this degree I could get paid. So that is good to know, because there are just these deals constantly happening. Tuition, prep school, expensive, private school, but I get into the Ivy League, so there's that. Brown or Cornell's where they think, and then you get 50% off USC, 1 year MS, and then $7K total MS online Georgia Tech. So that's kind of where we are with education. In terms of I'd be getting paid the next degree or even in this degree earlier because of kind of background stats. And then anyway, so where are we? What else do I have to say? Degree pricing, maintenance day. Right. So another good piece of advice would be to not move. In undergrad, people are moving like every 8 months or each year they're a different place. Do not move during grad school if you can help it. Housing's hard because a lot of people show up to the cities and then have to find housing or figure out what's going on with the city. So it's set up different or has different environments or cultures or climates. So doing this online is helpful. It adds a lot of stability. It makes sense at this point in my life because I'm older and these things would tend to make more sense outside as an adult that has kind of a car and is in Silicon Valley where a lot of the tech work is. So that's where we are with that. Yeah, I wouldn't expect to graduate for another 2 years. If we look at the plan going on here, summer 2025 update to the course plan. Looking at switching from kind of the next couple lectures in the operating systems track because it's too much to software architecture and design. Only taking one class this semester after fall, so spring 2026, and then that'll be supposed to be easier, kind of cool down because this is supposed to be a lot to prep. It's the AOS is 4 projects and 3 exams. So that's a lot. That's what I have to prep. So that's why what I was saying with the work or energy per unit time, if you double the amount of time, if you do this ahead of time in summer, it tends to work better. That way I can take 2 classes and not just be stressed out taking one and can prep and think and plan ahead. You can benefit with like notes. So it's good to plan ahead. And digital marketing, that's supposed to be easy, but I have to go get CEUs. In terms of Security Plus, and then that gives me some cushion with getting the CEUs because that matters a lot outside. And then digital marketing doesn't have a lot of overlap with things I've done, so an intro marketing class would be helpful because there are advertisements and commercials and marketing everywhere. It's ubiquitous, it's all around. That's also how Facebook and Google made pretty much all their money. Got kind of bloated. They just keep selling ads and then making more money, and then they have all these moonshots or side projects or figure out something else to do. But especially before the cloud with Google, there's a lot of marketing money from mostly small businesses, advertisers, and the money just getting funneled into these apps that are almost monopolies. They said they're not monopolies in court, but back in time especially, they were kind of close to monopoly level. They still are close to monopoly level. That's why they're even in court for this. Quantum computing to kind of help future-proof or get a basic intro to where computing can go, and then intro to graduate algorithms is a class that everyone has to take in this computing system specialization, and there's no proofs, so I've started learning proofs. 2 of the 4 types or techniques for proofs have already been taught to me, mostly through a Brilliant app, and then in the SAT class, software analysis and testing, there's some kind of formal logic or proof type systems, information, and schemas that come up. So that's good to know, but it's good to have a real introduction. So I recommend the Brilliant app for that. I also have a book that I'm going to read, but that's where I am with that. Yeah, and then again, like how it's the no fun league, so a lot of work has to kind of get funneled in to just this. It's good to try to do 8-hour days because those tend to be sustainable. But that means spread out the time, especially for like AOS to work ahead. And then, especially if you don't know C or C++ as well, like I don't know those languages as well. And then, you could also get hurt or injured. It's like if you start doing too much otherness, or you don't focus on work or plan ahead and make adjustments and constantly manage what's going on, turn into existential crisis Bob, because you don't manage everything and plan ahead and like look at workloads. And that's why I have to wait 2 years to get a blue cat. So it's just like these things, people just kind of run forward and do things, but there is no time and there is no energy. So it has to kind of go into having a kid in after grad school, and that's what we're looking at doing. Kind of get that to happen. I already have one cat, and she can take care of herself for the most part. Feeding is minimal, and then litter stuff. We switched litters because we tried a self-cleaning one, but it didn't work, so I don't have time to train her on it. So that's why I went back to the old litter box. So just constantly stuff happening. Degree set up, this kind of segment or part of the degree set up for people that are older, like mid-30s. Another kind of pitfall is to do like funner, kind of high-rated classes that are fun but not relevant. So even this one that's supposed to be really easy, it doesn't take a lot of work, is something that comes up all the time in terms of business sense and the outside environment and context around the code or products. There are things like video game design that doesn't, or it's kind of not relevant or different, trading, machine learning, depending on what you go into, finance or whatever, but it's not as much as what you do at work. So then also like with the services, they're looking at cloud computing or system design for cloud computing, but it's too much. I figure it would be $100,000 worth of work, and they're cramming it into 4 months, so you'd be looking at $300,000 because of how they crammed it in, and it's all low level and kind of behind the scenes, under the hood. It's pass fail, you get an A or an F, so if you get a C, you get an A. So there's just having to really pick these classes, because again, it's like the NFL, can make mistakes, and then it costs more than maybe undergrad or even at some workplaces. So yeah, it's probably 3 times what we do at work because of the individual effort that's constant. I would recommend drinking coffee and soda or Slurpees, but not too much. Try to be around 3 cups a day. What else am I looking at? Yeah, so 2 years until graduation. It's good to know kind of all this work leads to something, but it's a lot, and then kind of disconnected, or don't have a lot of energy, don't have a lot of patience, because it's like kind of frustrating or irritating. They know that's like how schools have push forward or whatever, or but it's actually like reversed in a lot of this. They're really trying to filter people out, and knowing what the job is really helps, because then you can pick classes that make sense instead of just picking random classes. What else? And then it doesn't end there. Is another good thing to take away from this. But it doesn't end there. I'm not goofy, so what is going on? Here, I'll show you some of this in a minute. Anyway, it helps knowing what kind of can happen a day, or not being goofy, or paying attention, and knowing maintenance, and knowing food. So anyway, this is an article that after the degree you still have to work on a lot to keep learning and getting work and being marketable. As a Columbia graduate student, I thought an Ivy League degree would guarantee me a job. I was wrong. So she says, grade 2 is before I submitted to Columbia Journalism School. And then they say, well, at my Ivy League school, I believe that big name companies would fight to hire me simply because of my degree. But in the real world, each projection confused me. I expected to land every job I applied for. And then, yeah, you can look at 2 to 5% rate of hearing back. So then she says, realize that adopting a growth mindset and constantly reinventing myself matter a lot more to real-world success than a prestigious university does. Learning doesn't stop after an Ivy League degree. For me, it had only just begun. So, just to know, like, you can go to these schools and you can do well, but you still need to do things. So this is where I am, because I'm just a lot more serious and adult and know what to do. She registered. That's where I'm going. Fall. But everyone has different positions too. So just on a random day, kind of say what my day is. I've been kind of in a world of hurt in terms of back pain because, let's see. It's just been constantly aching. So, frozen back world that goes on constantly. A lot of people kind of costal cartilage. I think they're having heart attacks. So, also feels like cuts or burning constantly, which is fine. There are worse things than a backache, but it does slow things down or messes up the concentration points. So there's always, people have different positions. Let's see what else. I'd also advise to not really drink or do anything, just sober on everything. That way you can be a lot clearer and think better. Just kind of knowing what the potions are, what expected to be. The neck. Something that's constantly having to happen. Maintenance, kind of health maintenance, which means like walks or whatever, gym time. So all those things are important to be sustainable. And let's see, so you still have to keep learning outside, and that mostly means LinkedIn. So if we look here on LinkedIn, there I am. I have to constantly be talking. I should feature one of my projects because I didn't feature it. There we go. Yeah, this is a paper, so I made a paper. That's good, that's important. Yeah, so, anyway, what I was saying about, like, the tenure at the companies, which is, important to know, because how long people work places. I think, Airbnb is a good example. With the premium, info, it helps a lot. So we have companies view page. You got a lot of good information here. So premium insights. Engineering, 130 openings. This is how many people there are. Growth is other. No new hires reported. Well, they used to have tenure. I don't know if they took that away. See, so this is why premium's good. It gives you a lot more information about what's going on and what kind of skills they have, what's going on with kind of degree connections, what like first, second, third degree, also education. They got $1 billion in 2020. You can follow them, learn about them as a company, details, founded, company size. Yeah, so premium is probably a good choice in terms of LinkedIn. I would recommend that. There's a career center and there are job fairs, but most jobs, 80% of the jobs are LinkedIn, and then about 80% of the jobs are networking, and then people you know, and it's good to just do posts and updates and add people. People tend to be open. Depends on backgrounds, but people tend to be open. It's like this is like the students are on Facebook, but for work they'd really need to be on this LinkedIn instead. So yeah, and it's always having stuff go on. You can join groups, you can follow companies, you can add other people. If you're watching this, you can add me. Is it still going? Oh, it is. Okay, good. Yeah, so there's always something going on with LinkedIn. You have to think different positions. Some of these students want to get a master's degree or they're younger, but I've already kind of done that to check the box. Yeah, because they could take kind of more fun classes like computer graphics, or things that tend to be a little softer that they added, like computing for good. So that might be nice to know, but it's not what people do, because it's all business sense and business reasons. So there's a lot of different stuff that people can take for fun, or kind of that they're newer, and then, oh, I want to know. Digital marketing is an example, but that's something that's applicable. So there's just our global entrepreneurship. It's there, but it's not, or computer law. There are all these classes, but animation, that would be something that people would probably really want to do, but it's not coming up for most people. AI gaming. So you have to be really careful with the classes, or it's more important to people who are older and a bit more real and not goofy, and know the jobs are and how the careers are expected to progress or work. So there's just all this going on. Right. So, like I said, it's good to have a lot of this planning done. It makes everything go easier. Read the syllabuses ahead of time, plan out the course schedule, know what's supposed to happen each week. Have to work around this. This is a huge time and energy cost, usually huge money cost, but with the online program and the kind of $7,000 degree, it isn't. So, as an older person, we would think privilege or career points or cultures to do this, because it is kind of overkill compared to what people would do outside or work. So it's just good to know that. And again, I am happy it's not law school, and happy to be starting class, because I do not like taking notes and watching lectures as much as doing projects. So that is where I am with my life as of August 12th, 2025. Just be more aware of what's going on and kind of what people are doing. And that awareness comes with time. So it's like when I thought awareness meant watching the news all day, and it's not what awareness means. It means knowing kind of what training is, or housing, or lives, or all these things that are not just like the news media. So I will leave you with that. It's been about an hour, and I'd like to sign off. Thank you for listening, and have a good time. Have a good rest of the year.